evening, everybody. This is Ajit Demla, your moderator for today's debate, and I welcome each and every one of you on behalf of Hyderabad debating community to our ninth debate. This is a motion, as I said today's motion. And then as we start, we will be inviting the skipper of each team to join me for a virtual toss. The winning skipper will decide whether they will be the proponents or the opponents of the motion, and they will also share with me the speaking order. We are going to have 3 rounds in the debate. There is going to be an introduction round, followed by the interjection round, and the conclusion round. In each round, in the introduction round, each speaker, okay, there will be 2 speakers from each side. They will be presented, they will be given 3 minutes to present. The order is going to be alternate. There will be a 5-minute strategic break after the introduction round, followed by an interjection round in which all the 3 debaters will speak. After this, we have a 3-minute strategic break, and the conclusion round will be the third person who is not spoken in the first round. The third debater will be concluding for their teams. After the debate is over, maximum of 2 questions per team will be allowed from the audience. Anybody from the team can answer, but they have to answer within 2 minutes. There will be time for this. At the end of 2 minutes, you will be force muted. Let's get to the timings of each and every round. Of course, there's going to be a fact checker report after the questions. Fact checker report will be timed for 5 minutes. During the rounds, during the first round, second round, and also third round, there will be a green card shown at the end of 1 minute, a yellow card at the end of 2nd minute, and you'll be force muted at the end of your timing, which is 3 minutes in the first and second rounds, and in the last round, it will be 3.5 minutes. Now the results, as I told you already, I have the votes from the judges for the pre-poll, for the pre-debate, whatever votes they have already shared with me. After the questions, they will be voting again, and the swing of votes will decide who's the winner. Okay, so that's who will go? I mean, Harika or Vijay?
You can go ahead, Harika.
Okay, Harika, can you please tell me it's heads or tails?
Heads.
Okay, heads, you won. So Harika, you get to decide whether you'll be the proponent or the second opponent of the motion.
We're going to opponent of the motion.
Okay, so Harika's team will be opposing the motion. Okay, and now Vijay, would you like to go first? Your team?
Yeah, we are ready to go first. Hello, everybody. People used to believe that if your aim is to change the world, journalism is the only immediate short-term weapon. There were times where journalism brought revolutions, modernization, policy changes, etc. But now are the days where our own weapon is causing harm to the society. Let me tell you why. It is a discipline of verification that separated journalism from all other forms of communication. But with all new live streaming of situations and on-the-fly content, the verification has taken a backseat. With the intense competition, every channel wants to be the first to break news. Because of that, there is actual ground reporting, no proper verification, and gatekeeping function has gone awry. Any incident which is new, creating a just go live. No need to understand the problem, do analysis, verify facts. This was seen in many cases. To quote one, the famous Lucknow girl incident. Everybody was supporting the girl for her point and bravery, but the harsh realities was never known. Journalism these days has also developed this strength called attention to detail. They want each and every minute detail of every event, time, gatherings, etc. I really wonder what is the use of this strength, especially crime. The way they showcase the crime should be given an Oscar. Speaking about the famous Telugu show that comes after 9:30 on ETV News, will cover the crime scenes in detail such that an Fifth class boy can understand how to do a crime. In the name of journalism, we are penetrating into the privacy of one's life. Everything today is open and captured. With the advent of pen camera, the button camera, these new things are infringing into very personal details of the person and publishing content without any acceptance. And according to Rolf Doleby, a Swiss author, in his TED Talk said that we are totally safe and happy by not following news. He said that news to brain is sugar to body. The more you consume, it becomes toxic. The human brain understands the sensational news as the most frequent news that is occurring. And we forget the important news and just focus on the sensation news. My grandmother, a couple of months ago, asked me, who is Riya Chakraborty? She's 80 years old and who could barely remember the name of her medicines has asked about the celebrity. Imagine the intensity of this media on her. So I would say that there is no news in the news these days. Persuading and convincing capacity of the news channels and media has reached to a next level. By observing these changing trends in the news, we can even say that this is the death of Indian news and journalism is barely doing any good to the society. Over to you.
A warm good evening to one and all. Before I even get into the debate of is journalism harm or good, let me just define in a couple of lines. Meaning of journalism, as per Cambridge Dictionary, is the work of collecting, writing, and publishing news stories and articles in newspapers and magazines, or broadcasting them on the radio and television. In short, it's the voice for voiceless, and it actually helps creating constructive awareness to those people who actually cannot reach the truth. Journalism acts like a bridge between truth and justice. And journalists often gets their hands dirty to investigate the actual truth and ensure it reaches the masses through right media. How many of you agree that prevention is better than cure? Most of us, isn't it? Somewhere in China, a virus broke out, and we in India took all possible precautions to ensure it doesn't affect us the most. How would we have done it if it wasn't through this journalism? Would you have believed that if it was through a WhatsApp forward? You may argue that it was bought and often not so-called facts are propagated and they're just limelighting the issues which are not really needed. Well, I agree to that point. I want to reiterate that this is present in every profession. Isn't it present in a doctor profession? Isn't it present in a teacher profession or a politician's? It's like we need to be vigilant, like a swan who picks up milk, leaving water. But just to conclude my introduction, without having so-called journalism, can I not doubt the integrity of this debate? How are we going to, find the facts of this debate without the so-called journalism? Isn't it really, it is a person who is looking at the news which matters than the news which are giving to you. Even for a small kid, it's the exposure which you are giving to that person matters than what is actually being taught by them. If you really do not want to know about Riya Chakraborty to your 80-year-old grandmother, it's fine. Then change the environment of your house. Ensure that proper news are propagated through it. That's all from my end for now. Thank you.
About a week ago, a Dalit girl was sexually harassed by UP teachers in Muzaffarnagar. She had scratched and slap marks all over. This news got only a 150 article on a virtual newspaper because on the same day, ABP and NDTV had to cover that Salman Khan is getting 350 crores for hosting the Big Boss new season. Yes, this is the news and the journalism that we are talking about today. And there are 4 pillars which have distracted the news channels and journalism, especially in India. Pillar number 1, highlighting sensitive topics. The only thing that comes to a lot of minds, especially mine, when I hear about journalism is religion. Religion has been a big part of news and journalism. The recent Delhi riots of 2020 resulted in bloodshed and property destruction. It was a result of public mentality being shaped by bad journalism. Yes, only the normal people and mobs were involved. 36 Muslims and 15 Hindus were killed. It got a Wikipedia page of its own. Pillar number 2, misusing media rights. Media rights allow journalists to invade and ask questions to bring transparency to people. But what happens? Journalists take advantage and invade the privacy of celebrities in the name of sharing information. They go closer to them physically and also ask them embarrassing questions in public. But even they have their personal lives. Celebrities like Shah Rukh Khan, Deepika Padukone, Priyanka Chopra have mentioned this in published interviews that they are fed up of paparazzi. Pillar number 3, politics. Just like celebrities are scared, politicians, especially in India and other countries, are loved by journalists because they are treated as celebrities. Media journalists, especially on TV channels, take full advantage of politics in increasing their TRP. Journalists safeguard the political issues similar to 2002 Gujarat riots, in which more than 2,000 people comprising of Muslims and minorities were killed. After taking charge, the Prime Minister himself took charge in the journalism and got all the news articles removed because he had the power in journalism. That the fourth pillar is zero diversity. When I take the names of famous journalists, let me list out them for you. Arnab Goswami, Rajdeep Sardesai, Ravish Kumar, Pranoy Roy, Rajat Sharma, Barkha Dutt, Shweta Singh. How many girls could you hear and how many minority names could you hear out of this? Yes, what I want to tell you is maybe today the opponent can go and Google about 10 names which are minorities or Muslims. But how many times did those get consistent rights and consistent opportunities to show their journalism? Hence, journalism has no good to do because it has deep-rooted problems, including these 4 pillars broadly. Over to you.
US has withdrawn its troop of 3,500 from the country of Amazon rainforest has lost 9 lakh hectares of land due to the human-made wildfire. Taj Mahal Palace was attacked severely, which helped Indian people to create tremors in themselves. Can you believe if there is any source other than journalism that could bring that news to our houses? Today, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the journalists who are working day in and day out to bring all the credible sources to us. Journalism is a profession where we get access to the credible information from the believable sources. And today, we have access to each and every corner of the world at our fingertips with our newspapers. And I'm really fortunate to live in a country wherein the country could get freedom with the help of journalism, with the help of newspapers. In 1780, there was a newspaper, Bengal Gazette, which helped Mahatma Gandhi to create a thought to create his own newspaper, Harijan, in 1933, that could unite the people of the country to bring freedom to us. And I see the journalists who are struggling who in their lives to visit Afghanistan and to report the facts, report the students' lives, report the underprivileged children. So I believe that all the privileges that we have, all the sources, information that we are having is thanks to the journalism. Do you remember in our childhood, the marks, the results that we used to get or through the newspapers? And now we all have our results, our interviews, opportunities, everything at our fingertips. Don't you think that it is only due to the advancement and the excessively unfortunate situation that is happening outside? So now I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the journalists, all the journalism outside who are helping me to get access to the credible sources. And now I believe that an underprivileged children living in a remote area is getting access only through the information sources. And our journalism is helping our Indian economy to grow up because they are encouraging the news of cultural heritage and encouraging Indian tourism. So now I would like to thank everyone, and I'm really believing that we had traveled a long way in the journalism, and I believe that we are going to up many, many heights thanks to the journalism. Thanks to you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Okay, let me just put forth my points over here. in journalism, we have seen a lot of laws and legals dated previously, it is pre-independence era and also post-independence era. Let me start with the recent one, which states tightens his grip on media, Modi. What is that title? What does it even mean? What even journalism is trying to speak on this? At that, this was during the COVID-19. What exactly media, what exactly our government is doing? I do not understand what the title speaks about. Give an appropriate title. That Modi is doing something during those times, right? But I don't see anything journalism in doing such way. During those days, even it was stated that China was, because of the China, we were facing so much of situations on those times. What exactly? Instead of focusing on what exactly are facing during those COVID, it was focused on the suicidal of Sushant Singh Rajput. I have no clue. Because of that, I shut down the news. Point one. Point two, I can also state that in the Kashmir, we have paramilitary forces and police who are actually attacking exactly on those civilians. What is exactly happening inside? We don't know. All of a sudden, it became union territory. How, what, when, nothing is there, right? It is just focusing because of the politics, what they are saying, they are just reading that. It's all opinions. We don't know what is a factual one, what is verified one. And 11/26 attack, we know that the paramilitary forces and other policemen, they are doing their own strategies. What did media do? They are showcasing on the television, stating this is happening, that is happening. And the person is sitting at the terrorist place by watching this television. He came to know what are the strategies of the police. It was so easy for the inside terrorist people to know what's happening outside. And that's where so many people got killed. We also have laws imposed in the pre-independence, that is a Gatling Act done by the Lord Lytton. We also have sections 124A, 153A IPC, sections 565 IPC, Newspaper Incitement of Offences Act of 1908, Press Act 1910, Metcalfe Act, who has given definitely liberal policies, Prevention of Seditious Meetings Act 1911, Criminal Law Amendment Act 1908, Official Secrets Act 1903 Amendment. Instead of this, still journalism don't know what exactly to speak in front of everyone is my question. What exactly to write, the choice of words, no. Even in televisions, whenever we switch on the television in those days of Doordarshan, it was so easy. Aram say, come normally, what happened in life, so many things are happening, it's okay, take a chill pill. But now, this is happening, that is happening. That's not a right tone, I must say. You speak in a normal way. Journalism has to be very nice. I can also state that the big picture of Rajya Sabha TV, they discuss, they don't debate. Do we have such things even by Arnab Ghoshal? Do we have such things, such tone by Bharkadat? No. It always gives us anxiety and panic attacks. During the pre-era, we have Bengal Journal, we have Calcutta Chronicles, we have Vernacular Act 18978, Licensing Act 1857. It was always said and stated.
My teammates have already reiterated the value of journalism, how important it is, what a vital function it serves, how useful information is brought from across the world, even from dangerous places. And we learn of these things and we learn to trust it because it is through journalism. One of my teammates also mentioned that the entire integrity of this debate depends on the fact checker looking at reports, journalists' reports, not your opinion, my opinion, or what was from a WhatsApp forward. So now let me just talk about what my opponents, my debating opponents have mentioned, and let me just try to see what I can say about that. Vijay said that verification has become less accurate because there is ground reporting, live streaming, etc. I don't see how that's possible. If it is live streaming and ground reporting, then it is facts, it is seen. The only difference is we don't know the context. And who gives this context? It is journalists. It is a reporting that tells us what has happened. So for example, he said something about a Lucknow girl. Unfortunately, I didn't read the news, so I don't know about it. But I think the truth that came out later must have come out through reports, journalist reports. And when we say that, just anything is circulated and published, I don't think it is true. It is these viral videos that go around without any censoring, without any editing, without any censorship. On the contrary, in journalism, there are several layers. There are editors, there's an editors guild. There are many checks and balances. So now Rahil said that some Dalit girl was raped and it was not covered. I think that is selective picking of news. Just 3 days back, There was news of a rapist in Hyderabad. There was 10 lakhs offered. I know it through the newspapers. Every day it is covered. These things are covered. And as for some celebrity being covered, well, they themselves want it. They want the press. They want the press to cover them. At other times, they don't. Well, that's just bad luck. Religious tensions. Is it the reporters who stopped the coverage? I mean, who caused the tensions? I don't think so. It is the politicians or somebody else, some vested interest, who caused those religious tensions. The press covered it. Imagine if there was no coverage of the press. What would happen? And finally, representatives in the press by minorities is very low. Well, let's say 0.1% of the journalists are Parsis. Would you expect 15% to be the journalists on the TV? It is proportionate. What's wrong with that? Let's be reasonable about it. As for Haripriya, many of the things she said I couldn't understand, but let's say Kashmir, it is because the press was muzzled that we don't know so much about what happened in Kashmir. Had the press been present, we would have known a lot more. And terrorists are seeing what is on TV. Our intelligence people are also seeing what's on TV. They can in fact project a certain thing. Let's give credit to our army, our CRPF.
So, journalism. Yes, journalism is straying into entertainment. The lines between the serious news segment, the news entertainment, and the news comedy are blurring. If Team B has done their homework properly, I would say journalism was started as a persuasive mechanism in order to make people convinced for something, either to buy a soap or to vote for something. Information is power. It can raise armies, incite violent mobs, destabilize the whole nation. Let me give you some statistics. There are 4 big news channels of India, namely Zee News, Aaj Tak, India TV, News India. This comes top in their TRP ratings as well. Every day, there is a small debate conducted in the evenings on their channels. An analysis states that 40% of these debates are conducting based on bullying Pakistan, 25% attack the opposition party, 20% praising Modi and his government, and 10% on irrelevant topics like Ram Mandir and all. Only 5% of which are purposeful, like Bihar floods and specific rape incidents and all. So there is also a rise of yellow journalism, in which they propagate, which is unimportant. The Fox TV, the CNN has turned channels into more of an entertainment. These channels introduced a style of news that is politically driven, leaning hard to the right, in-face commentary and heated debates. Perfect strategy to make a profitable propaganda. The famous reporter with his dialogue, "Nation wants to know," has brought a shift from the traditional way of giving audience both the sides of a story and letting them decide, to taking a nuance, coming up with a preconceived notion and trying to persuade people. Other dimension to this, the cost of producing a single newspaper would cost you 15 rupees per day, whereas the cost of newspaper is around 5 to 6 rupees. So how will they fill the gap? How will they be profitable? This gap is bridged by the advertisements. Nowadays, in everywhere, you see advertisements a lot. Even there is a small scrolling going down, there are a lot of advertisements bombarding with the news. So news has become an infotainment and it's not more an information. Other than that, one of the opponent teams has spoken that the children wants to know and decide based on the news that whether they should stick on to something, they are getting knowledgeable. So I would say an average person consumes around 10,000 to 20,000 news per year. And if I ask you to mention any 10 news that you have benefited by knowing from journalists rather than knowing by yourself, I bet you won't find many. You might argue that with the help of these journalists, we are getting to know the catastrophes in the nation, the floods in the world. So there are many catastrophes happening in other planets as well. Do I even concern about that? If it is something really important, I would get it know by my friends and my family. So this perpetual drama of news will constantly trigger hormones and release glucocorticoids, which are harmful and which create the chronic tension for the growth of your healthy body and healthy life. So if you avoid news, you'll be hale and healthy. News also wastes time. If reading news has given you any competitive advantage, then imagine journalists would be the richest persons in this world because they have everything known.
Thank you very much, everyone. I have come to know many things which I didn't know before. Though I'm a little surprised to learn that to avoid news so that you can be hale and healthy. So just imagine in the World War I, where India actually helped British to fight against French, and we have got, we were the key players to get that World War I by British Kingdom. We won it. When we are back to India, not just the victory we have got back, we have got the Spanish virus got back to us, to our country, and there were like lots of people who died. What I want to say with this example is, when there is something good coming in, there is also bad attached to it. That does not mean that we need to avoid that completely. There is information, and the main purpose of the media or the journalism is to provide the information. It's up to you how you want to grab it. There is a case in 2004. Apparently, there is a movie which has been even shot, which is streaming on G5 today. That in that case, there is a lynchman, Akku Yadav, who was stabbed to death by 200 men in Nagpur. 200 women in Nagpur. He was stabbed to death, and 5 among them were acquitted and they were put in jail. Everybody thought the case was closed, but only because of the investigative journalism that helped those 5 people, not just those 5 women, but including the entire 200 women. They've come to know what exactly has happened, and it actually helped all those people come out. If that was not there, I'm very sure that all these 5 women would have spent their entire lives on their life sentence. Also, the journalism is actually an invisible 4th branch of government. Despite the hyperbole that exists in our society today, what is fake or what is not fake, journalism actually plays a strong part in forming our national identity. You know what? It actually produces original content. There are many forwards which are coming today. There was one forward which came that, where is Modi? Modi is gone. So there are many things which are coming up. How do you believe all such things? Unless it comes in a newspaper, and you see that in newspaper also we are getting fake news, you have a right to ask it. The very next day, if there is any correction to a news, the very next day they print it back, saying that there's a big apology, saying that we apologize, this has been done wrong. So, and code of ethics, I would say that there is ethical journalism which needs to be followed. For various reasons, it may not be followed. So we need to focus on the process, not the journalism as such. If you say that news is sugar is harmful to us, does it mean that we are cutting it down completely? We need to limit it. That is what we need to do in journalism. Over to you. Thank you.
The doctor said Amazon, Yashwant said that Amazon was covered. Let me correct you here. You should know that wildfires happen every year. It is just that the media doesn't cover it every year because there was no political agenda before that. But now there were some US elections going on and they had to cover the Amazon forest. Let me tell you something else also. The things that media covered, that you are saying that the media covers important things like underprivileged people and important news, it only happens after a revolt or a violence. Other than that, it is never covered. Why do you get to know about Muslim or minority problems only after there were 50 people killed? Think about it, because there is a political agenda involved. Nobody covers it before that. The example given by Harika about World War I, yes, it does work, but only back then. Today, there is a lot of problems. I'll tell you about that. Doctor spoke about how WhatsApp forwards are not credible. I will tell this, and everyone in the room will agree that I got to know about the same Hyderabad rape case and the 10 lakh price because of someone's WhatsApp story or Instagram story, and not because of the newspaper. It came on the newspaper after 24 hours, and Instagram already had it. So why should I go to another place when there is a little more credible position on social media? Again, Harika highlighted that that media is the 4th pillar of government. She is right. It is the 4th pillar of government and not people. I'll tell you how also. There was a hierarchy mechanism the doctor told, telling that there are editors guild, there are fact checkers even in newspapers. But the entire point is that the journalist, the person who writes the news in the first place, might be right. But till the time it reaches the editor, the corruption and the biases get the right news away. Hence, the hierarchy itself is the problem. Talking about how you want to defend your journalist, I will tell you, when I hear a news about one of the most famous journalists in India, Arnab Goswami, I miss a lot of it because human ear cannot hear more than 20,000 decibels. Yes, screaming is not news. The thing that you are saying are highlighted only after revolt. think about it. When I say that the things that are happening and are highlighted in the news channels are highlighted only after a revolt or violence, think about it. Every time you hear an important news, it is preceded by an issue which had bloodshed because it was not covered in the right time. Over to you.
I don't think this platform is a platform where we need to teach everyone that we are stardust. And I think it takes time for me to explain that a human life or the life on the earth started from a hit of the asteroid. In fact, each and every moment of our life is associated with the cosmic effect. Leave that cosmic aside because we're talking on journalism. I am responsible to the forest, which gives 20% of the entire globe oxygen, Amazon rainforest. If someone talking about the catastrophic effect and Amazon rainforest is not a ground for this discussion, it's excruciating for me. Because as a human being, we are responsible for each and everyone's life, and we are breathing oxygen, and journalists are trying hard to put the facts and figures right before us. That was my point. And I'm sorry if my debaters got it wrong. And one of my debaters told that we are bringing the things issue to light only later. I believe later than never. We want the solution. We can't just keep the solutions go in the hidden desert. And one of my debater told that we are seeing only Aaj Tak, Z News, and any other news. Why don't you switch on to ETV 9:30 news? It will give quality news. Why are you spending much time in promoting them? And why are you helping them to increase the TRP? And or switch to TV9 9 o'clock. It gives 50 news in 50 minutes. Don't you think it is good? And at the same time, I believe I appreciate my debaters to come up with many facts and figures, but at the same time, I would love if they would appreciate the efforts of the families of the journalists, and I would appreciate the values that the journalist is doing. Because if a false news is spread, if false is broadcast, in the very next day, newspaper issues an apology of the false news. And advertisements, do you think a business will run without income? Yes, I agree that there are advertisements, and without that advertisements, how can you ensure that a newspaper or a news program or a news channel would ever exist? Yes, they do have the strategies. If at all you don't like the news channels, advertisements, switch it on to your favorite one, or just switch it to Discovery Net Science channel so that children will get more education. So I believe that everyone can get access to good news at the fingertips, and it's in our hands to choose what to listen to, what to watch. So instead of focusing on the negativity, if you could promote the good news, I think we are going to have a bright future for us and even for children. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let me start up with the Freedom of Press Index in the worldwide Reporters Without Borders. We stand in 142 out of 180. It has to be in fact 180, not even 142, because I don't see any kind of transparency. The news which we see, even in the newspapers, in the portals, in Google, anywhere, even in Facebook, Instagram, there is no clarity. It is always diplomatic. And I don't want any diplomatic answers. It was either yes or either no, do or die. We want either on the top, either on the last. So that's first thing. And second thing, take the good from the news, not the bad. How will I know that you're taking good, not bad? How can you judge that the child is taking good one, not bad? How can you judge that I am taking good or bad? How can you say your parents are taking good or bad? It is upon the perspectives and nature of the person. We cannot do that. Can you enter in the brain of the person and decide you take only good, not bad? So that is what I say. So, and second thing is, I also got an answer that give a credit to Army, not CRPF. I am giving credit to CRPF and Army. They are doing good job. But what are journalists doing? Are they telling us exactly what Army and CRPF is doing? No, I have not seen that till date. And whatever case you see, which is going on the Supreme Court, wait for the judgment to come. hang on for the first hiring, second hiring, and the third one, judgment. You just put on the assumptions. You just put on question mark. Is Supreme Court is giving judgment? Question mark. And you make your own assumptions. Understand the perspective of the viewer, the watchers, the audience in the television. Give upon those answers exactly. You put question mark or exclamation mark, and we make our own assumptions. And coming up to the even job portals, we know that the Naukri is providing fake resumes, but still are we doing on that? No, we are still concentrating on the Bollywood, what Shilpa Shetty's husband is doing, what about the suicidal case of the other people, are still focusing on that. We know we have a Discovery Channel, Epic Channel, we know that those are, we are digging up on the mines where a lot of things are happening at the back end. Are we focusing on that? Are children seeing that? No, they are still opening up for social media platforms, they are still going up on those reels. What is exactly are we happening? So let me give an example of pre-independence and post-independence. There was something called as Amrita Bazar Patrika. Right now it is in Bangladesh. So it is going on over there. In that, Britishers have given the credit. Why? Because they have put forth the indigo farming case exactly put forward. And it was licensed. After having that factual and verified case, Britishers have given the credit. We will also do that. We will obviously give the credit if the fact is verified and it's very perfect and appropriate. But I don't see any inappropriate. That is the only reason all the politicians, even ourselves, we don't want these pictures to come forward. We just give our own opinions, own our pointers. So that's what my say is, journalism is not doing their appropriate job which they have to. I would say, in fact, the public speaking which they are using, it's not an appropriate way which we have to do. So these are the pointers from my side. And I also have an example of the acid attack PIL cases. How many PIL are still lining up over there? Do we know? No, nobody knows about it. But we are focusing on the social media. We know that acids are not selling out in the kirana shops, but still it is there. Have it been completely vanished? No, it is still there. We don't know even next acid attack when it is going to happen. Point. And during the during the times of Indira Gandhi, 1972, 1974, 1970.
So friends, we have already established certain facts that news is wide ranging. It covers entertainment, as my friend said. It covers rapes, as I have shown from certain examples. It covers catastrophes across the world. One of my opponents said that they only showcase irrelevant stuff like Ram Mandir and they don't showcase rapes. I think both are relevant. How can Ram Mandir be irrelevant to this nation while rapes are only relevant? It is what you want to know about. And I would like to know the whole gamut of things that are available, what is happening in the world outside. He says there are so many advertisements. I think its advertisements are good. Now you agree that 15 rupees is the cost of a newspaper and they're selling it for 5 rupees. Now, how do they make up the balance? If they sell for 15, you can't buy it. But if they don't put advertisements, they'll have to take money from corrupt people or politicians. I hope you understand that, my dear friend. And who wants to know about catastrophes? Who wants to know about COVID? Who wants to know about pandemics? Who wants to know about Amazon fire? I do. What do you want to know about? Only about the rapes? I mean, that's your choice. The Amazon forest was just an example. What my team member was saying was that so much information comes from across the world. Amazon, Siberia, Australia, I wouldn't know about it without newspapers and journal news. One of my friends, he takes all his information and knowledge comes from WhatsApp forwards. I don't think that's a wonderful way to go ahead, but that's his choice. My dear friend, somebody said that the CRPF and army are not given credit. Are they not? How do we know about our Jawans, about our martyrs? Is it because the families are forwarding? It is a newspaper report about such a person having fought with valor, been given the Paramveer Chakra. And that is circulated in WhatsApp forwards. And we know about these great people. So also about our Paralympic champions. We've never heard of them without this. One of my opponents said that the freedom of press in India is very low. I'm glad that you mentioned this. You agree that if somebody is harmful, something is harmful, there should be less freedom for such a thing. But the freedom of press needs more freedom. They should be more free because it is a useful and helpful thing. Someone said that you won't find even 10 if you read so many. I just took today's newspaper and I found about metro timings, about diabetes, how to manage. how GHMC has covered 96% with vaccines just in today's paper. Finally, there was a time in this country when there was an emergency and the press was muzzled. Those who feel that the press is harmful should actually look forward to such days when the press is completely muzzled and not allowed any freedom. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad, for your concluding comments. With that, we are at the end of the debate, and both the teams have done a great job. Let's give them a very big hand, please. Everybody unmute yourselves and let's hear it for both the teams, please. Okay, it's been a great effort. It's been a great effort by both the teams. I right now would like to invite questions from the audience.
Thank you, Ajit. My question is to the proposition team. I have heard arguments saying that news like Ram Mandir is irrelevant. So I would like to hear from the proposition team that how is it an irrelevant news while this is a hot button issue since ages. With that being said, I have heard proposition team talk about channels like Epic Discovery. So are they trying to advocate or sound paradoxical with their argument? These are my questions to the proposition team.
Okay, proposition team, have you got the questions?
Yes, I have got the question. Can I go ahead with the answer?
Okay, Rahil, go ahead.
So when one of the proposers meant that the Ram Mandir is irrelevant, they meant it because of the way it is projected and the crucial time that it is projected. It is not. You should know that Ram Mandir was never a property issue or a building issue. It was an issue because it was always projected like a Hindu and Muslim issue, whereas it was never supposed to be that. So journalism did no good. The people who fought from the political sides and the leadership sides and the central governments did good, but journalism only gave more fire to the issue, showing that it is a Hindu and Muslim issue. And it's only the way it is told is that there are other news also which should be projected, and at the same time projecting something which is solved doesn't make sense is what the proposer told. And the answer to the second thing that you mentioned, when one of the opponent team told that journalism is only important because it is telling about wildfires, what we tried to tell was that you can find on these channels also. How is journalism helping on Instagram? Doctor is saying that Instagram and WhatsApp will make no sense, but it is just that it is much faster and reliable. Why should I wait till next hour when half the forest is burned to read about it when I can read it on Instagram? Less credible sources are becoming better is what we are trying.
Basically, I have a question for the proponents team. So throughout the debate, they had mentioned 3 or 4 sentences. One was that journalism is no good to do. The second one is with regards to the recent case in Hyderabad. I don't want to name it again. So they said, I think it was Rahil who said he got to know the news from his Insta updates. And I think Vijay also mentioned that the news he's okay to know from his friends and family. But the point they missed out is that the news that is propagated on Insta is also taken from the journalists who are actually present at the press conferences and police police press conferences and all. That's where these media channels or the person on ground journalists, they
Can you get to the question faster, please? Get to a question.
Yeah. So I would like to ask them that what is the medium that their friends and family would know about the news, and how the Insta would get to know the news? Is it through journalists or they have any other medium through how they get the news?
Thank you, Aditya. Please keep your questions brief. Who would like to answer from the proponent team?
Shall I go or Haripriya, would you want to?
Please decide. Let me know.
Haripriya, shall I?
Yeah, you go ahead.
So when the person says that they don't care about that journalism is doing no good and we can get it from other sources, there are certain things that there is a reason why social media is told as the most powerful tool. It is also a medium of communication. Journalism is not the only means of communication. It might be credible for you, but it is too slow for me in today's generation. I don't mind reading things on social media until unless I will be able to cross-check the facts. And I am able to cross-check the facts again through internet only. If you're saying that if the information is getting accumulated through journalism, no, it is not. The source still remains the internet and it will remain the internet. For example, you might not know that there is some issue of CM in Punjab going on. Even if you got to know it by 12 o'clock in the news, you still don't know that Navjot Singh Sindhu's name is being proposed as the CM of Punjab, because I read it on Instagram. A newspaper will show it to you tomorrow. Things like, let's say, the Lucknow issue that happened. It is a public issue that happened. People saw, they took a photo, they posted it on the Facebook. It got spread like a wildfire. It is because people are aware. Social media is letting everyone be a someone who can share information, not just confining it to the journalists themselves. It is not that every time the source is that when something happens in public, the public spreads the news on Facebook or Instagram, and the journalist will reach way after the thing is done. So that is what we are trying to do.
Thank you, Rahil. Fine. So now that we have asked 2 questions to the proponent team, now only questions to the opponent team are open.
Hi, this is Ashok. My question is for the opposition team.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think Prasad said that there were already several layers of rules and regulations which the journalists follow. But as per observation from a viewer, we can see that I can clearly see half of the channels are inclined to left and half of the channels are inclined to the right. So when we this is creating a divide in the general population. So how do we manage this issue if the channels are so openly not for following the ethics and the rules and regulations?
Okay. Opponent team, have you got the question?
Yes.
Dr. Prasad, who from your team will answer?
Okay. May I answer the question, Harika and Yashwant? Yeah.
Okay.
So who asked the question? May I know?
Ashok.
Ashok, the thing is, when it's a WhatsApp forward or something like that, I can just say whatever I want. I can say that you killed somebody and send off a thing. Now, in newspaper channels, we often see these debates where people are called from both parties and they are allowed to put forth their points. Have you seen this? Whether it is, maybe someone is muzzled a little bit, they let someone speak more, speak less, but both are called. You do get a balanced view. And then you are free to check with other channels also. Nothing stops you. The details that are taken and given, if they are false, that newspaper channel will fail, because we expect them to adhere to a certain standard and we expect the information to be accurate. They can interpret it how they want, but they have to present the facts. If the facts are not correct, that newspaper channel would face a big backlash and they would be told that these people provided these statistics, they are completely wrong. Whereas in a WhatsApp forward, you can say whatever you want and there's nobody, it just keeps getting forwarded. So that is why even this HDC is actually depending on newspaper reports to check. The fact checker does not check WhatsApp opinions. They are not accepted. They accept only reporters. I mean, only newspaper reports, I think, I hope. Unlike Rahil's thing, if they say we like to see WhatsApp, God save HDC.
Okay, Doc. Fine. We have now Padmaja had raised her hand. Padmaja, you have a question for the opponent team, and I can allow you to ask the question.
Yes. So my question is, from the opposing team, someone said journalism is voice for the voiceless. So can the team give a couple of examples where journalism really changed the public discourse?
Okay, opponent team, have you got the question?
Yes.
Who would like to answer?
Is it all right if I take it up?
Absolutely, please, Captain.
Sure. Thank you, Padmaja, for this question. It's voice for voiceless for various reasons. One, if you want me to quote few examples, I could quote the same example which I quoted during my course of debate. In the year 2004, there were 5 women who were acquitted for murdering a henchman, a very, very bad person, which has been proved during a course of trial. And just because of this investigative journalism, that has helped these 5 people. So I didn't want to tell this before, but I'm quoting it now. All these 5 women were Dalit women, and they really did not have any voice. Just because they're coming from that particular, such a place, they didn't know how to have that, their voice was not heard. that made them voiceless. That being my first example. The second example, in the state Andhra Pradesh, we see that there are lands which are being just given to the poor people under some section. Now there is a rule that every person have to build a house there, otherwise the lands will be taken back in certain years. But what about the person who does not have the money to build a house? Automatically the lands will be taken out. Now there is journalism. There are journalists who are putting the pressure by telling the truth to the government, even to the other state people, that this is what is happening. With one hand, you're giving the lands, and the other hand, you're picking them back. Again, in both the examples, the common thing is the people who are the people who are affected are the voiceless people, because they cannot come to the media and expose these truths or whatever is happening. They cannot come by themselves and then tell to the media. And that is the reason why I call it as voice for voiceless. I hope it cleared to a certain extent, Patanjali.
Thanks, Ajit, and good evening, friends. An amazing debate, a good round of applause for all the debaters who put forth their point of view in the short time that is given today. So few things I just noticed through the debate, and I thought I will share what I have heard from the debate and give my report as a fact checker. The debate started with a very powerful statement that journalism is being used as a weapon for public to combat actually corruption and wrongdoings, but it is actually doing harm than doing this particular job. Now, this was countered with a equally good opening, with an equally good statement that the reason that journalism existed, what good thing it can do, took us back to our school results, in our school days, how the results were published in a printed media. Today, it is there on an online media, which is the websites. That's a good thing that talks about the need for journalism itself, while the debater actually defined what is journalism. Here's my concern in the opening for the one who actually proposed the notion. In this opening statement saying that verification has taken a back seat, sounded to me more of an opinion than a fact, because no data is provided whether how much of verification is taken a back seat. I'll talk about that in a minute. Now, the proposition team also said, in one of those debaters said, PM removed the news, the Prime Minister removed a news or modified the news. Is that a fact? I don't know if it is not a fact until it's proved or it's actually given in a media. As someone rightly said, the fact checker believes what is actually given from the media itself, the journalist, right? It is not there, right? One second, what did I write this? The same proposition team talked about acts and laws that were defining journalism, but also made a statement: journalists do not know exactly what they speak. This again sounded to me as an opinion, not a fact, because journalists these days have to undergo a journalism course degree. There's a separate degree that they have to clear it. Though right now I can say, when I come to the comment given by people against the motion saying context is actually set by journalists, anyone with a smartphone is acting as a journalist today because of the power of social media. Having said that, the mainstream media, the journalism, you need to undergo a proper education. It is not a thing. So again, there I found it is an opinion. Someone said COVID news is not focused as much as Susan Singh report. Again, to me, sounded opinion, because there's so much of news. And there is a statistic that says 74 people who had read the COVID news felt it was fake. At least there was some news, people did see it, and they had their own doubts to believe or not to believe. So coverage, not actual coverage, I don't know about that. One of the fact, again, slight change in the fact, again, for the proposition team, saying the cost for printing is 15 rupees, that's correct. That the cost of selling a newspaper is 5 rupees. Actually, as per the stats, it's 2 rupees. Apart from this, I do have some other stats just for the interest of the audience. And the thing, like the main source of information in India, 62% is from print media, out of which 48% people feel it's fake. Online news blogs contribute 69% of news. Social media contributes 82% of news being circulated as a mainstream information in India. Radio news is 22%. TV is 79%, out of which 55% people feel it's fake or manipulated information. 60% of people believe news which is spread through WhatsApp, through family and friends. These are some stats that I picked up from Statistica about journalism and the trust factor for journalism in India. I'm afraid no one spoke about it, but these are some points for the judges to ponder upon on both the sides of a coin. Back to you.
I now request the judges to kindly vote after keeping the fact checkers' views in mind. Please vote. Okay, so everybody, let's look at the results. Glad we have got a result. I told you before the debate, all the judges had voted, and this is what it was looking like. We had 71.4% were against the motion and 28.6% for the motion. Let's see the response after the debate. There it is. It's 85.7% against the motion, and so there's a 1% swing in favor of against the motion. So the opponent team, the team opposition, has won the debate. Let's hear it for the opponent. Congratulations to Dr. Prasad, Harika Raghu, the skipper, Dr. Prasad and Yashwant. Friends, so let me just share with you, just give me a minute to share with you about HDC. Okay, why do we have this forum in the first place? You know, there's the importance of opinion sharing and the importance of objecting assertively, the importance of respecting each other's perspective is central to effective interpersonal communication, and that is the reason why the vision of HDC essentially is to help individuals become better at listening and critically analyzing the arguments and articulating the ideas with greater confidence. It's been more than 4 months that we have been hosting these debates every fortnight. This is actually our 9th debate that you're watching today. And if you want to watch our previous debates, you can watch it on the Hyderabad debating community. And you can also stay connected with us through the various media on which we are present.
Hi everyone, I'm Padmaja, and this is my first time at the Hyderabad debating community. So thanks to Lasya for thinking of me to be your judge. This very vividly reminded me of my college days where debating was such a new thing. And it's after a long time that I am being part of a debating discussion. It's very interesting. As a listener, if I can make one recommendation for both the teams is, if you can define the time period of journalism. I think as a former TV journalist and someone who is a journalism student and who works with journalists and all, if I can give that advice, define your time period, because journalism in the pre-independence era is very, very different to the current time. So you can't compare, oh, then they fought for freedom stuff. It's very different. We have changed so much.
Aditya, you want to say something? Aditya?
Yes, Ajit. So this is also my first time at Hyderabad debating community. So I would thank Rajesh for inviting me as a judge. And journalism is one such topic which I was eager to be a judge and listen on both sides. And I really liked how structured it was with respect to the rounds and how people were called up to talk. So it reminds me, obviously, as Padmaja said, back in school days, but I felt the process of how you're organizing and the fact checker and how you're moderating, it's really good. I think this club has a lot of potential to grow.
Yeah, it's in fact you asked for earlier that anyone who is first for this HDC. So I am one of them who is attending HDC for the first time, and I'm very fortunate to be attending as a contestant, as a participant. That's really exciting, and I appreciate the work put by each and everyone, including my opponent teams as well, because the homework that they put in, the numbers that they brought in, simply it was exhilarating. So I appreciate each and everyone's effort to make these kind of events being possible, and I'm really glad that I'm here. I'm looking forward to more and more these kind of exciting debates in the time ahead. Thank you.